So on your backs, please. Let's begin with the therapy balls right under the sacrum. So in the low back, off of the spine into the pelvis, where you have those two little dimples. Place your balls so they land right there. You're going to be at the base or the wide part of the triangular bone at the bottom of your spine called the sacrum. And then just let the sacrum drop into the sensation of the balls. And take your hands right to the pelvis. You can put the palm right on the bony point in the front of the hip called the ASIS. And now tip that ASIS and tip the whole bowl of the pelvis forward towards the heels so that you get an arch in the spine. And then now tip the pelvis back so that you flatten the back and the tailbone starts to scoop between the knees, up towards the knees, like the tail's reaching between the knees. And then go back and forth, inhaling as you arch, as you stick your tailbone out, and then exhale as you tuck, as you flatten the back. Inhaling, arch, and then exhaling, tuck. Arching and tucking to your own breath. Do a few more rounds. And as you go through this motion, notice how there's a movement through the whole spine. How as you initiate from the pelvis, it pulls all the way up to the chin. So as you tip the pelvis down towards your heels, you might feel the head follow and the chin tip down. And then as you tuck the pelvis towards your knees, you may feel the chin lift up. And see if you can feel that ripple along the whole spine. How the pelvis and the tilt of the pelvis actually creates an effect all the way up the chain to the head. And how the head sits on the top of the spine. So thank you for requesting that connection between pelvic tilt and posture, because this is really critical. And notice if you can continue to feel that ripple as you move. And moving between opposites of flexion and extension, increasing our awareness of the pelvic mobility and where the pelvis is in space. And then we'll use this motion actually next to mobilize the thoracic spine. So find a moment of stillness. Remove the therapy balls from the sacrum. Allow the sacrum to come down to the earth now. And here, try to find that middle point. So the whole triangle of the sacrum is flat on the floor. Feel if you can feel the broadness of the back of the pelvis here as the pelvis now sinks off of the balls. And just take a couple breaths there. As you breathe in, try to breathe into the sacrum. So breathe into that front border of the sacrum, the back wall of the pelvic bowl. And then as you exhale, feel the sacrum drop a little bit deeper into the earth. One more round of breath here. And now, take your tune-up balls still in the toes, and let's bring them to the lower part of the rib cage. So I'm going to be right around the bra strap line, and then roll back onto your back with the balls right in that area. And maybe move up or down a segment once you get there. And then bring your hands back to your pelvis. If the balls in this location is too intense, you can also just roll up a towel, like a small hand towel or a smallish bath towel, and put that towel roll right here. That's another great way to do this mobilization if this is too intense at the moment and you're feeling yourself tighten up. So great modification, just use a towel roll. Come back to that pelvic tilting action now to mobilize through the thoracic spine. As you tuck, you'll feel the rib cage push and flatten into the therapy balls. And then as you arch, you'll feel the balls roll up to the head. And then as you tuck, you'll feel the balls roll down and some increased pressure. And now you're just rolling over a couple segments. And this is the root of the neck right here in this lower thoracic spine. So right around that diaphragm level, that really plays a big role in how the head sits on the neck. So we started with the pelvic diaphragm. Then we want to stack the respiratory diaphragm, or your breathing musculature, on top of the pelvis. And then if we stack these two, then the thoracic diaphragm or the throat, the head can just rest easily on top of the spine. So that's why we're starting here in this postural work. Take a few more rounds of the pelvic tilting, and then we'll change the mobilization through this area. Arching and rounding the spine here, connecting movement to breath, using the breath as a driver to mobilize the rib cage. The best way to mobilize the thoracic spine is through breathing. So that's an integral part of this work. And then find stillness, pause right here. Pull one knee into your chest. And as you hug your knee, think about pulling it down to the ground. So that you're pulling the knee down to compress the balls behind your back. And then maybe you straighten out the left leg. But don't let the back arch as you straighten out the leg you're not holding. Keep the low back pressing into the floor and pressing into the balls. Take 5 deep breaths here. Getting a little psoas relief in the straight leg. Lengthening the deep front line of the body that attaches right into the diaphragm. Three more breaths. And then gently bend the straight leg. Hug both knees to your chest. And then let's switch sides. So first taking the leg you were just hugging down so the knee is bent with your foot on the earth. Just first feeling that variation. So now I'm hugging my left knee to my chest, right foot on the floor. Soften into that. Notice if you need to adjust the balls at all. So they're in that just right spot. I'm going to move up just one segment for me. And then as you're ready, straighten out the right leg. Keeping the low back pressing into the earth, not letting the low back arch. And then gently tucking the chin towards the throat. Notice if you can also lengthen above the level of the balls, dropping the shoulders back. Taking 5 deep breaths here. See if you can feel the elongation all the way out from the crown of the head to the heel of the right foot. 3 more breaths. Reversing that curve. That was the title of today's class. So coming out of that rounded thoracic spine, creating some elongation in our thoracic spine and rib cage here. Use the tuck of the chin and the exhale to facilitate that a little bit more. One more round. And then hug both knees to your chest. Pausing here, pulling both knees in now. Seeing if you can try to flatten the entire spine towards the floor. So pulling the knees down towards the floor to lengthen the low back and the sacrum on the floor. Tucking the chin to get elongation above the level of the balls. And then send your breath into your back body. Try to breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. And then allow that one foot to come down, then the other. Roll to your side a little bit to allow to take the balls out and let the whole spine rest on the earth. And just notice the difference from when you began. As you breathe into the back body. Feeling the inhale fill the space between the spine and the floor. And as you exhale, melting a little bit more into the earth. And now we'll keep with the balls together in the toes. Now we're going to put them vertical along the spine. So I'm going to come to the left side of the spine first so you can see. And I'll just roll to my side so you can see. I'm going to come right in that bulky musculature, the erector spinae of the spine. And the balls are going to roll just like this, from the edge of the spine out along the back of the rib cage. So I'm going to come right beside the spine with the therapy balls and the toes. And then I'm going to swish my hips over to the right and then come back to center. And actually have to move them up just a little bit. Make sure you're below the level of the shoulder blade. So the top ball should be just underneath the angle of the shoulder blade. And I'm just going to roll along the back of the rib cage. So I kind of swish to the side with my hips, and then I swish back. And my hips are lifted just a little bit so that I can roll over that bulky musculature on the side of the rib cage. So I'm strumming the spinal extensor muscles, those muscles that hold us upright. And maybe if that strumming is a little intense or feels a little awkward, you can just even rock your knees and send your weight into that left side of the spine. So all you're doing is just sustaining compression into that meaty, muscular, extensor spinal muscles. We call them the erector spinae. So providing deep pressure, sustained compression, or a strumming, cross friction massage of the thoracic extensors. Wherever you are, take 5 more breaths there. Softening through that musculature, exploring it, asking, what does it need right now? Maybe it's just sustained compression.
Welcome. I'm just going to mute you so that no feedback. We're using a single set of therapy balls today,
right along the left side of the spine beneath the level of the shoulder blade. So feel free to join us. And then remove the balls from there. Lie flat on your back again. And then just feel the difference in the spine on the left to right now. It probably feels like there's almost a hollow spot on the left, or that there's this sinking action on the side that you just rolled. So observe the change. And now let's go ahead and do the other side. So just for your sake so that you can see, I'm going to turn around. Place the therapy balls in the rib cage just below the level of the bottom of the shoulder blades. You're off the shoulder blade. Now I'm to the right side of my spine. And then now I'm going to sweep across the back of the rib cage on the right by moving my hips. I'm keeping my head supported on the earth. I'm just barely lifting the hips so that I can roll across or strum the spinal extensors. If that doesn't feel right for you, maybe you rotate the knee, you drop the hips and rotate the knees to the right so that you increase that pressure into the right side, so that you increase the weight and gravity into the spinal extensors on the right. And once you find a spot of sensation, you can continue strumming across them, rolling over them, or maybe your body's just asking you to sustain compression. And as you sustain compression, breathe deeply into the location where the balls and the body meet. Using the breath as a driver to soften the muscular contraction in that space. Allowing your body, its weight, with the assistance of gravity, to sink and soften into the resistance of the balls. You can facilitate that release by drawing your awareness there and sending your breath and your awareness right to that point where the therapy balls and the body meet. With each exhale, softening a little bit more. Take 2 more breaths, finishing whatever way feels right for you, whether it's strumming, cross-fibering those muscles, sustaining compression, whatever your body is asking for right now, meet it right where it is. And then slowly come off of the balls. Lie flat on your back, let your arms come by your sides, turning up. And just notice now how the sacrum is resting on the floor. The lower thoracic spine is resting on the floor. And then maybe you start to feel the difference between that space underneath the shoulder blades and that mid-shoulder blade level. Saying, oh, I feel like those shoulder blades could drop back a little bit more. So let's come to that area next. Take your therapy balls now right between the level of the shoulder blades, still in your tote. And then place them there. Head comes onto the earth. If you feel like you need a little support on your head because your head starts to tip back, take one of your blocks or one of your books and just support the head a little bit here so that your chin's not up towards the sky. I want you to feel continued length through the whole back body. So if you're unable to get the length of the back of the neck, just add a little support under your head. Great, great modification with the blanket. That's perfect. So now here, just pick up the hips and just roll up and down, just a couple segments. Just barely lift the behind. Try to keep the head relaxed. And just give me a little roll. Maybe the hands support the neck if it needs it. And just roll a couple segments. This isn't going to be our primary action. I just want you to get a little exploration so you can feel, oh, this is that just right spot. So we're just exploring, asking our body where it wants us to go. When you've arrived there, come back onto your back. And now, let's do a few pelvic tilts here. So again, coming back to the pelvis to facilitate mobility throughout the entire spine. Couple pelvic tilts, keeping the back of the neck long. And then pausing, tuck your chin in towards the throat. Few rounds, tuck. So now lengthening from above the therapy balls. As you tuck the chin, think about rotating the head forward so the forehead comes a little bit higher than the chin, but the head's still supported on the earth. And you'll feel it pull all the way down to the level of the balls. Great. And then now, find a moment of stillness here. And now we're going to do both of those actions together. This motion, maybe you want to take a little peek at me first. This is going to feel like a little crunch, but I don't want you to be really crunching through the abdominals. It's going to be a different action altogether. I want you to focus on extending the spine and then flexing the spine. So you're going to spread the elbows wide, push the elbows back into the floor, chin lifts up, and tailbone sticks out so the back arches. So I'm in a nice C curve arch right now with just basically my head, my tailbone, and the balls touching the earth. Breathe in. And then as I exhale, I'm going to curl the tailbone, curl the elbows in, tuck the chin towards the throat, and round the spine one segment at a time up to the level of the balls. My head is completely supported by my hands. It's just going along for the ride. Elbows wrap and the pinkies press into the occiput, the base of the skull. So now is round, now is flexion. Now lower yourself down one segment at a time. Extend, push the elbows wide, stick the tailbone out. Feel the back of the head, tailbone, elbows, and balls press into the earth. Then as you exhale, round from the sacrum, elbows pull in, round from the head. Tuck the chin, round through the upper back. Feel yourself roll over the balls. Now arch back on your own inhale. And then exhale, elbows come in, tuck the chin, so round from the head, every segment lifts, and round from the tailbone. So do a few more rounds. I'm just going to take a peek at those of you that have the video on, just to make sure it looks good. It's really about the rounding and the arching together in sync from both ends of the spine. Good. Yeah. As you come up, everybody squeeze your elbows together more. So as you squeeze the elbows together more, you'll feel how it opens that space between the shoulder blades to come up a little bit more. I want you to almost feel like you can touch your elbows. Yes, perfect, Maria. Arch, yes, chin tucks even a little bit more, Lisa. Tuck the tailbone to go with it. Yes, and then lower down slowly. Let the elbows come out. Push the elbows into the floor on the inhale, and then exhale, rounds again. Yes, great, Dolores. Tuck the chin and look towards the belly button as you rise. And then come back. One more round. Deep breath in and feel that extension, and then exhale. Perfect. And then come back down towards the earth. Let's take the therapy balls out for a moment. And now even let the legs straighten out. And just let the body relax. That probably increased your breathing just a little bit. You feel a little bit flushed with energy from working a little there. So allow yourself to sink back down into the floor, feeling the heaviness again in the body. As you're supported on the earth, feel the back of the body breathing. Oh, there's Quinn. Hi, Quinn. Take 2 more breaths. Beautiful. Now I really want to come into the upper trap area. Some of you that have been in class with me have probably done a variation of this before because I love this. But we're going to stay with that a little bit more active variation like we just did with the flexion and extension. So now we're going to get into our upper traps. We're going to place the balls right in that meaty area. If you were to squeeze the top of your shoulder, you feel that bulky spot. I want the balls right there so that they're not on the spine, not on the shoulder blade, but right in between, in that crux, right where the neck and shoulder meet, if you were to squeeze your shoulders. So on your back, place your therapy balls there. I'm going to do a dynamic option. So just kind of like what we did, syncing breath and movement. We're gonna make it a little more active today because I want it, the part of this posture tune-up is getting a little muscle activation to stabilize ourselves as well. But if this feels no good moving dynamically through it, here's your modification. I'm gonna show you right ahead of time. Just so you know you can stay still here. Take your block, place the block under the pelvis, and then arms come up overhead. If the movement feels no good, if it just feels like too much, come right here, breathe and hold. But if you want to try to add a little movement to that, what we're going to do is we're going to inhale, lift our hands, lift our hips. Hold for a breath. Breathe in, reach long, lift the hips. As you exhale, hips lower, then arms lower. Inhale, hips lift, arms lift. Hold for a breath. Inhale, reach long, lift the hips more. Feel the glutes engage. Exhale, roll the spine down. Then the arms come down. So we're getting a little glute pelvic activation. Inhale, hips come up. Arms come up, exhale and hold. Inhale, lift the hips a little bit more. Feel the glutes engage. And then exhale, roll the spine down, middle back, low back, tailbone. After the sacrum gets down, let the arms come down. Try 3 more rounds on your own breath. I'll watch you as you go. Again, inhale, hips lift. Arms lift overhead. Exhale, keep the arms there. On the next exhale, lower the back down 1 segment at a time. And then the arms follow. Lisa, if you want a nice variation for you, maybe if the arms are too much overhead, maybe kind of like seaweed, you just sway your arms from one side to the other side, if that feels good, or you just give yourself a hug and rock from side to side. That's a really nice option too. Or the arms can come straight up towards the ceiling and you can do a little kind of zombie arms, reach forward, drop the shoulder blades back. So choose which of those feel good for you. I think you might like the hug, yeah, or the sway. And if you're still doing the lifting, let's do 1 more round. I'll do it with you. Inhale, hips lift up, arms lift up. Exhale, keep the hips high, but feel the chest collapse with that exhale. Inhale, lift the hips, reach long. Feel the pressure into your upper traps. Feel the glutes engage for postural control. And then as you exhale, roll down, middle back, low back, sacrum, and hands. I really love that one. It gets us out of the upper traps, but then also activates a lot of postural muscles. Okay, remove the balls. 1 more second, just luxuriate in lying flat on your back. That's my grandmother's favorite word. She's 96, and she just says, I'm going to luxuriate a little bit. So we'll follow her advice, and maybe we'll live to 96 years old. So just allow yourself to completely drop to the floor. Feel the ground support you. Let go of any muscular effort for a moment. Being refilled. because the next portion will require a bit of work. So pause here, letting that tingling sense of vitality, of action, of movement subside so that you come to rest in the stillness again in your body. And once you've arrived there, bend your knees, turn over onto your belly. And now this is an interesting one. I'm gonna give you a few options. I really love this, but let me know if you have any side effects or it's not tolerable, because we are gonna take the therapy balls right to the front of the chest. I'm gonna use the 2 small balls because I'm gonna do both sides together, and I'm gonna place them on top of blocks. So just watch my setup for a moment. I have my blocks kind of like in a V. You can probably see that there. And now I'm going to take the therapy balls towards the top corners. And the therapy balls are going to go right into the front of the shoulder, right into this pectoral area. Lisa, if this feels a little bit too much, you might just want to try this with the Coregeous ball right in the middle of the chest. You will still probably get a little bit of that retraction. Or if you want to do a little rolling across the chest, I'll show you. Sorry, one second. You can start like this with a little rolling. So give that a try. But what I am planning on, and again, please feel free to ask questions, is taking those 2 therapy balls right into the front parts of the shoulders, into the pec area. And I'm just going to allow myself to lie over that. And I'm going to get some deep pressure into the pecs. And I want to feel the shoulder blades round. We did a bunch of priming to pull the shoulder blades away from the rib cage. So now let's let the shoulder blades sink around the balls. Allow your head to be heavy. And send your breath to the mid-back, that space between the shoulder blades. And again, if you have any questions, if anything doesn't feel quite right, let me know, ask me questions. Put your camera on. Yeah, perfect. And then after you feel that sinking or that settling here of the shoulders over your therapy balls, what we're gonna do is we're gonna activate the postural muscles. So now we're gonna get into that posture tune-up by recruiting musculature. So the first thing I want you to do is you're gonna lift the hands up towards the ceiling. As you lift the hands towards the ceiling by your sides, you're gonna feel the head of the shoulder drop into the balls a little bit more. So the balls will go a little bit deeper. And then bring the hands back down. Let's do that again. Let the shoulders drop forward over the balls. You might even feel how the arms lift up more this time. And then come back down. If anything doesn't feel quite right, or if you feel like you're in a nervy spot, readjust those balls. I'm gonna just toe myself up one tiny bit so that I'm in a little bit more of the meat of the pec. And if you're getting any numbness, tingling, coldness, reposition those balls more into the meaty area in the front of that shoulder. Kind of right where the chest, front wall of the chest and the shoulder meet. And then let's do a few more lifts, maybe 5 more times. And we're not focusing on the shoulder blades yet. We're just allowing the hands to lift and the shoulders to dive forward here. So it's about lifting the hands high, dropping the shoulders low, improving that forward tipping of the shoulders, rolling over the pectoral muscle, bring the pec into the short position. Last time. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually do the opposite. So make sure the head can relax. I'm keeping mine lifted just so you can hear me and see me. And now I want you to turn the palms to face down, fingertips like claws onto the floor. And now keep the fingertips tented on the floor. And now pinch the shoulder blades back here so that you're wrapping the shoulder blades into the mid-back. Hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Let's do that 2 more times, then we're gonna add on. Again, pinch the shoulder blades back. The bottom corners of the shoulder blades come together. Feel the triceps, the backs of the arms engage, the shoulder blades wrap together, like you're trying to squeeze a pencil between the shoulder blades, and like you're trying to tuck your shoulder blades into the back pockets of your pants. And then release. Do this one more time. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Feel them wrap into the middle back, tucking down to the back pockets of your pants. Keep the pelvis firmly planted in the earth. So the front of the pelvis is really stable, back is not working, low back is not working. And then relax. Now we're gonna add a little lift. So we're gonna keep progressing that. If this feels like too much with the balls, you can actually just take the balls out and do this right on your belly. This is a nice stabilization even without the balls. But the balls give that little extra, which is really nice. So I'm gonna keep them there. And also too, you can try it with that Coregeous ball if you have it here. And that will just allow for a little bit more mobility through the thoracic spine. So I want you to have options. And now let's change that arm position, reposition those balls if necessary to that just right spot. Bring the arms out to a field goal type position. So the arms are out like an airplane, like a T. Elbows are bent to 90 degrees. So the thumbs are by the ears. Palms are facing inward. So the thumbs are up right by the ears. Now, pinch the shoulder blades together here. Feel the whole arm lift up. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Let's do that 2 more times. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Keep the pelvis pressing into the earth. Shoulder blades engage. Thumbs lift up. Give me a big thumbs up here. Keep the head relaxed. And then down. I'm lifting mine just so you can hear me and see me. Last time right here. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Arms rise. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Okay, we have 2 more variations in this progression, then we're done with the work. So from here, stretch the arms up high like a Y, like YMCA, thumbs still in a thumbs up position. Right here, balls are still in the front, in the meaty part of the pec. Lift the arms up. Try to reach out through your elbows. If overhead doesn't work, another option is just by your sides. So you can bring your hands by your sides, pinch here. Yeah, that's perfect, Lisa. Great work. Yeah, nice job. So in that Y, and then release. Release all the way in between. Let the shoulder blades round. 2 more. Thumbs up, lift up, Superman. Hold strong. Strong arms reaching long through the arms, from the shoulder blades, out the elbows, through the fingertips. Lift from the shoulder blades, and then release. Last time. Pinch and lift. Keep your head relaxed. And then release. Last thing we're gonna do here is a little snow angel. So I'm going to bring my arms to that field goal position and then reach them up overhead. So now I'm going to keep the arms off of the floor, and I'm going to bring the elbows down towards my hips and then reach the arms up towards the sky, overhead. Pull them down towards your feet, reach up overhead, keeping the arms hovering off the floor the whole time. Really feeling the whole back body burn. 3 more times. 2 more times. Feeling this whole shoulder blade area, mid-back postural muscles engaged, pulling us out of that curve. Last time. And then release. Let go all the way into the earth. Take out all the props. Let your head fall to one side. And now roll all the way onto your back. Make sure you have that book or block nearby. Take your therapy balls back into your tote, and let's just end the session in a really nice restorative way. Letting go of any tension at the base of the head, giving ourselves a little occipital cradle or suboccipital release. Take your tote. I like to come under my hair and slide it up right to that base. Having a little block or book helps keep it there. So take those therapy balls on a little bit of a support. And then allow it to just do a nice little cradle of the skull. Turn your shoulder blade, pinch your shoulder blades back a little bit so that you can drop the shoulder blades in the earth, churning the shoulders out from the shoulder blades, letting the backs of the hands rest on the floor. Knees can stay bent. Maybe they go long, or maybe you bring the soles of your feet together like a butterfly position or a cobbler position on your back. Whatever feels right, come into stillness. Allowing the work to be integrated. Letting go of the thinking brain. Let your head be really heavy and just drop over the sensation of the balls. Stay here for about another minute. Coming back to your breath, focusing on elongating the exhale. Maybe even sighing out through your mouth on the exhale. Facilitating from the breath an even greater shift from the sympathetic towards the parasympathetic nervous system control of the body, allowing us to rest, digest, and restore our bodies. Take one more full breath in, and everybody sigh it out. And then remove the balls from the base of your head. Lie flat for just 1 minute, feeling the weight of your head. Allowing the thinking brain to turn off. Letting the brain just drop back in the skull towards the back wall of the cranium.
decompressing that thinking mind, giving ourselves a little space. And as you're ready, turn to your side. Use your hands to press yourself up to sit. And take one moment in sitting just to feel the change in our awareness of our posture, of the pelvis, of the rib cage, and of the head in space. Thank you so much for joining me.